Hey guys, Ollie here from the Roland UK Academy, and here's 5 tips in under 5 minutes to help you with Illustrator. Tip number 1, shortcuts. So firstly, V allows you to move to the selection tool, so we can use this to highlight our design. If I push and hold down A, that changes to the direct selection tool, which allows us to work with the nodes that make up the design. If I double click one of these, I can then look to move that out like so. We have T, which is for the text tool, so I can draw a text box and start to type into here, like so. We also then have L, which allows us to use our shape tool. So this is a circle tool, and if I hold down Shift, it will keep that in proportion. The space bar then allows me to move this shape, so this can be really handy when putting cut lines around the outside of a design. Let's just switch that over there. We also have M, which is the shortcut for a square as well. So if you want to work with one of those, that's how you can do that. So just one final one. In here, we've got our cut line that runs around the outside of our design. If I use Control X to cut that away and then hit Control V, it pastes in a random place in our artboard. To stop that happening, if you hold down Shift at the same time, so Control Shift V, we use paste in place. You can also use Control F, which will paste your cut line but would bring it to the front of your design. Tip number 2, navigation. When moving around Illustrator, there's a couple of tips that will help you navigate more freely, and these mainly break down into either panning or zooming. First up, panning. So to pan around and move your artboard around like so, either you can push and hold the spacebar key and then click and drag, or we can use the hand tool, which is just accessed by pressing H on our keyboards here, and we can do the same thing in there. The other one that I mentioned is zoom. So to zoom in and out, you can either hold down Alt and use your mouse's scroll wheel and zoom in and out like so. You can also zoom by using Control and the plus and minus keys at the top of your keyboard up here. Once we've reached a certain point, if we want to zoom back out and see the whole artboard in our screen, there's also a shortcut for that. So just push and hold Control 0 and that centers it like so. Tip number 3, layers. To open up the layers tab, you can either tap F7 or navigate up to here, window, and then down to layers. So here at the moment, we've got our design that's got a cut line running around the outside and a logo down at the bottom here. And it's all on one layer, which is called print. To create a new one, we just click the plus button down there at the bottom, and then we can name this as we wish. So I'm going to create one called cut line. I'm going to do another called logo as well. Dependent on the order these are in as well, it will affect how your design is displayed in front of you. So we've got a cut line that runs around the outside here. I'm going to select that, and to move it onto another layer, I can just use this little red nodule here and just click and drag that up like so. So now when I turn the print layer off, we can just have a cut line. Equally, when I turn the cut line layer off, that disappears from the outside here. The other thing I may want to do with this design is just ensure that the logo doesn't get meddled with at all. So I can select that, click it, drag it up to our logo tab, and then I can lock that in here as well. Tip number 4, file formats. Print and cut design files often contain both bitmap and vector information, which means we then need to save them into a format that's both supported by VersaWorks and can preserve the design information and the cut lines that you've created. When it comes to saving out of Illustrator, if we go to File and then Save As, the two most commonly used formats are going to be PDF and EPS. PDF will save your file with the artboard space around the outside, whereas EPS tends to save just the design information. As an additional tip, if you ever struggle with getting JPEG files into VersaWorks, try bringing these into Illustrator first, then saving them out as a PDF or EPS, and then you should be good to go. Tip number 5, swatches. So a question that comes up a lot is, how do I install the Roland VersaWorks swatches, and then how do I open them in Illustrator? So I'm going to show you how to do that now really quickly. Step 1 is to locate the swatch libraries and then copy and paste them into Adobe Illustrator. So to do this, the location that you need to get them from is roughly here on the left hand side. So dependent on your computer and version, it might vary a little bit. And then you need to paste them into here on the right hand side. And you can see that mine are already pasted in here. So now we've copied and pasted our swatches. To open them, we go to Window, we go down to Swatch Libraries, and into Roland VersaWorks in here. And now you can see that we've got all of our different cut colors, and we've got others to print special inks as well.